We do want to head to D.C. right now. Gary Gensler, the chairman of the CFTC, is with our Lindsay Arendt. Lindsay.
Thanks, Carol. I am here with the CFTC Chairman Gary Gensler. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's start off with the whole idea that there was this historic hearing today. First of all, the fact that the president requested that your colleagues on the CFTC get together with the SEC commissioners to harmonize regulation of the over-the-counter derivatives markets. How tough is that going to be? A lot of acrimony among the two and turf battles among the two agencies.
Well, first, I'm delighted to work with Chairman Shapiro. I mean, we really just met in December when the president asked us both to do this, but we've been working well together. The commissions work well together. And there's a big task in front of us. We need to regulate the whole over-the-counter derivatives marketplace. We'll need Congress's help to do that. But also we're trying to see where we have inconsistencies. Should we bring those to the forefront and maybe have consistency? And some differences we'll leave alone. Some differences really should be left alone.
What's at the top of your list as far as you heard today from the panelists as far as what you need to do to create this harmonization?
Well, at the top of my list right now is to have another day of hearings, really hear from market participants. At the end of today, I summarized 12 areas that we had heard from panelists that they thought we should address. And I said, which amongst these do you think? I'm going to ask the same question tomorrow. So if I can hold off on my views and keep hearing from panelists.
Well, a lot of talk about cross-margining, correct? That's going to be a big issue for you. Explain why.
Well, right now, a client can post margin for futures and they can post margin in options, but there's two different regulators and two different regulatory homes for that. The question is, can we lower risk by bringing that together? A lot of panelists thought we should. We're going to take a real close look at it.
Were there any sacred cows for you as far as you can tell in terms of what you're willing or not willing to do?
The president asked me to do this job. To me, we have to have all the options on the table and to see what's best for the public to promote market integrity and market transparency.
Just listening to the participants on today's panels, a lot from the exchange world and from the derivatives world, a lot saying that they favor the CFTC's principles-based approach to regulation as opposed to the SEC's more rules-based approach. Is that going to affect the outcome when you ultimately come forth with a report for the Congress?
Well, we'll see. I also heard some people that said maybe we needed to toughen up a little bit of some of our rules, too. So we're open to that as well and working with the SEC, again, to promote stronger enforcement and make sure we promote transparency and integrity.
There has been a fair amount of concern about too much regulation driving business overseas, where the regulatory scheme is a little less complicated than it is here. What do you say to concerns about that?
Well, we're working very closely with international regulators. We've just 2 weeks ago came to an agreement with the head of the FSA in London. We heard today, actually, from a European exchange, Eurex. And so we think that we have to bring this consistency here at home, but also respect that we live in international markets.
There was a consumer group that gave testimony today saying that they thought that financial innovation should take a back seat to safety and soundness. Do you agree with that sentiment?
Well, I think what needs to take a front seat more than it has is the American public. I mean, we know that we had the worst financial crisis. Our financial system failed. Our financial regulatory system failed. And we have to step up our overall game as regulators, get new authorities where appropriate, be more consistent if appropriate.
But as far as that comment about innovation being something that we have to kind of step away from while we focus on safety and security, I recognize the bit about the American public needing to be assuaged in some way. But really, do you agree that...
Not assuaged, but at the forefront of everything we do.
Sure, but when it really comes to innovation, I mean, there will be concerns that too much regulation will stifle it. How do you balance those concerns?
I think it's an important balance as regulators. I think that, for instance, in the over-the-counter derivatives marketplace, it should all be regulated. But the standard product should be further on exchanges. But we should still allow for some customized product, innovative product, but still regulated. Right now, we don't see it. We need to see it. We need to regulate it.
A lot of concern I heard from business groups, particularly the Chamber of Commerce, saying we want to make sure that we can maintain customization, as you were saying. Are you able to do what you want to do with harmonization and with this regulatory overhaul, but also allow these groups to maintain customization?
I think so. I think that's a little bit of a false choice. I think that we can protect the American public and still have some innovation. You could have worn green or purple or blue today, and you'd still be a very terrific news anchor. So I think you can have some innovation.
And what about concerns about the high cost of these regulations that it's going to impose on the end user, for example?
Well, what we had is a system that was completely unregulated in the over-the-counter derivatives marketplace. Bringing regulation may have a goal to lower risk, and lowering risk may be less leverage in this system. But I think we have to lower the cost to the American public first.
All right. CFTC Chairman Gary Gensler, thank you so much for your time. Carol, we're going to send it right back to you in New York.
All right, got it. Lindsay, thank you so